वेलकम टू आवर चैनल। सो आज हमारा डिस्कशन का टॉपिक होगा इंडिया के नए लेबर कानून। एंड ट्रस्ट मी, दिस इज समथिंग यू नीड टू पे अटेंशन टू because it's about to change your salary, your job, and your future.
Okay, let's get straight to the point. It doesn't matter if you're a student, a salaried employee, or maybe you're working for Zomato or Swiggy. A massive change is coming in India, and it's going to have a direct impact on your wallet and your career.
So, the first big question on everyone's mind has to be why? I mean, why was there even a need to change these laws in the first place? Let's dive in. You're not going to believe this, but India had over 29 different central labor laws. Just think about that for a second. Imagine the sheer complexity for a single company trying to follow all those rules. It was this massive, tangled web, and many of these laws were from way back, some even from before independence.
So what did the government do? Well, they took all those 29 plus laws and basically boiled them down into just 4 simple codes. The goal here was crystal clear: simplification and modernization. Make it easier for companies to comply and, bring the whole system into the 21st century.
So what exactly was wrong with the old system? Well, for starters, the laws were so confusing that they kind of created this whole Inspector Raj situation, which, as you can imagine, led to corruption. Plus, and this is a big one, they were totally outdated. They had no idea what to do with today's Uber drivers or delivery partners. I mean, the whole concept of a gig worker didn't even exist in these laws. There was just no protection for them. All right, let's talk about the part that probably matters most to you, your salary. How are these new laws going to hit your wallet? Let's break it down.
Okay, prepare yourself for a bit of a shocker. It's true. Under the new rules, your monthly take-home pay, your in-hand salary, could actually go down. But wait, hold on, don't click away. There's a whole lot more to this story.
See, here's the deal. The new rule says your basic salary must be at least 50% of your total pay. Now, what were companies doing before? They'd keep the basic salary low and pump up the allowances just so they could save money on their PF contributions. But now, as you can clearly see in this table, when that basic salary goes up, your PF contribution goes up right along with it.
So yeah, your in-hand salary might take a small hit right now. But, and this is a huge but, there's a massive silver lining. Your PF and your gratuity are both calculated based on your basic salary. So a higher basic means you're building a much, much bigger and more secure retirement fund. Think of it this way: a little less money for today means a whole lot more security for tomorrow. Okay, after salary, the next big question is always about job security. Do these new laws make it easier to hire and fire? Let's take a look.
Now, this is where things get a bit controversial. Before, companies with more than 100 workers needed government permission to do layoffs. Now, they've raised that limit to 300 workers. What does that mean in simple terms? For companies with up to 300 employees, it's now easier to let people go. And that, understandably, has raised some serious questions about job security.
But it's not all one-sided. There's also a pretty interesting positive change. The new codes introduce the option of a 4-day work week. Sounds great, right? Well, there's a little catch. The total weekly working hours are still 48. So if you opt for a 4-day week, you'll have to work 12-hour days. Something to think about.
Okay, now we come to what might just be the most revolutionary part of these new codes. For the millions of gig workers in India, this is a huge moment. Their time has finally come.
For the first time in Indian history, the law now officially recognizes gig workers and platform workers. We're talking about the folks who drive for Uber, deliver for Zomato or Swiggy, all these people. Until now, they were in a sort of legal gray area with zero legal protection or social security.
So a brand new social security system has been created just for them. It's pretty straightforward. Companies like Uber and Zomato will now contribute about 1 to 2% of their total annual turnover into a national social security fund. And that fund will be used to give these workers benefits like insurance, PF, and even pension schemes. This is, without a doubt, an absolute game changer for them.
All right, let's do a quick recap. When you look at the big picture, what has really changed for the common person?
This table really sums it all up beautifully. Before, you had different definitions for wages. Now, there's one common definition. Before, tons of registrations. Now, it's a one registration, one license system. The minimum wage, which used to apply only to certain jobs, is now universal for everyone.
And of course, the biggest one, gig workers finally get Social Security. The three key words to remember here are simplification, universalization, and modernization.
So, the laws have been made, but for them to actually succeed, we all have a pretty important role to play. So what's your responsibility in this new system?
Look, if you're an employee, you absolutely need to know your new rights. And maybe even more importantly, you have to keep learning, keep upskilling. Because in today's world, real job security comes from your skills. For employers, the responsibility is to follow these new laws honestly. And for all of us, as consumers, we should try to support businesses that treat their workers well.
These reforms are, at the end of the day, a massive experiment. They definitely seem pro-industry in some ways, but they also have clear pro-worker elements. Their ultimate success is really going to depend on how well they're implemented on the ground. So I'll leave you with this question. Do you think these changes will actually take the country forward? Thanks so much for watching all the way to the end. What do you think about these new labor laws? Let us know your honest thoughts in the comments below. And hey, if you found this explainer helpful, please do us a favor and hit that like button, subscribe, and share. We'll see you in the next one.